Today we're making these super cute flower placemats. They fit a standard plate and are perfect for a dining room table. For materials, you're going to need worsted weight cotton yarn. I'm using this color for the outside of the flower and this color for the inside. And you will need 2 skeins of each color because this pattern requires you to hold 2 strands of yarn together. So either split 1 skein into 2, or you could just get 2 different skeins. For the outside color, you will need 2 skeins just because it requires more yarn. But for the inside, this is just 1 skein split it into 2. And then you will also need a 10mm crochet hook. You will need a darning needle, stitch marker, and scissors. To begin, grab the middle color for the flower and hold 2 strands of yarn for it. We're going to work with 2 strands for all of this pattern. So hold them together and begin by making a magic circle. To make a magic circle, drape the yarn like this on 2 fingers and then hold it with your thumb so it doesn't move. And then wrap it around and make an X on top of your index and middle finger. Grab your 10mm hook, face it down, and push it on the inside like that. And then pull the top tail of the yarn, pull it through the middle, and then twist. And then grab the top again and pull it through the loop on your hook. And this is your magic circle. Now pinch it and make sure it's secured. And the magic circle is completed. For round 1, we're going to start by chaining 1. And then we're going to make 9 half double crochets inside the circle. To make a half double crochet, yarn over once. Insert the hook inside the circle. Make sure you do it in the middle, crocheting over the short tail and the circle. So put the hook inside and then yarn over and pull up a loop through the circle. You should have 3 loops on the hook. They look like 6 because we're holding 2 strands of yarn, but they're 3. Remember, we're working with 2 strands, so it looks a little thicker, but you should have 3 loops on your hook. And then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And that is your first half double crochet. If you're a beginner, that first half double crochet, that V there, grab a stitch marker. We're going to put the stitch marker in the middle of that half double crochet because when we end the round, we're going to slip stitch in that first half double crochet. And sometimes it's hard to find if you're a beginner, so make sure you mark it. And now just continue making half double crochets. So this is 1 half double crochet. We're going to make 9. So yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. This is the second half double crochet, and then the third. And so just continue making half double crochets until you have 9, and I'll meet you back once I have 9 half double crochets. After you have 9 half double crochet, grab that short tail in the circle and pull it to close the circle, make it tight, and then remove the stitch marker. And then you're going to slip stitch in that first half double crochet where the stitch marker was. So insert your hook in that first stitch, the first half double crochet that we made. And then pull up a loop and pull that loop through the loop that's already on your hook to make a slip stitch. Now for round 2, you're going to chain 1. This is just a turning chain, just chain 1. And then in that same stitch where we just slip stitch, you're going to make 2 half double crochets, so an increase. And so yarn over, insert the hook in the space right where we are, right under the chain, and pull up a loop. We're making a half double crochet, so that's 1 half double crochet. And then if you're a beginner, make sure you stitch mark it. And then in the same space where we just did that first half double crochet, you're going to put another half double crochet. So we're increasing. We're putting 2 stitches in the same stitch. So we're doing the second half double crochet here. And then we're going to keep going like this. We're going to make 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So we started the round with 9 stitches. We're going to end it with 18. We're putting 2 in each stitch. So in that second one, we're going to do another increase. So a half double crochet and another half double crochet in that same stitch. Now you're just going to keep going until you have 18 half double crochets. So 2 stitches in each stitch, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round when you have 18. So here I have 18 half double crochets. We increased in each stitch. Remove the stitch marker, and then we're going to make a slip stitch in the first half double crochet that we did. And that completes round 2. Now for round 3, you're going to start by chaining 1, and in that same stitch, you're going to make just 1 half double crochet. And then again, if you're a beginner, make sure you put a stitch marker there in that first half double crochet. And then in the second stitch, that's where we're going to increase. So we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the same stitch on the second stitch. So that's 1 and that's 2. So we're going to keep repeating this pattern. We're going to do 1 half double crochet in one and then an increase in the other one. So just keep going, do 1 half double crochet, and then next one you're going to put 2 half double crochets, so an increase. And then we're going to keep repeating that 1 and then 2. We're going to do that until we have 27 total stitches. Your last stitch should be an increase, and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so I just did my 27th stitch. That last, what looks like a stitch, is not a stitch. It's where we slip stitched in the previous round, so you're not crocheting there. So just count, make sure you have 27 stitches. If you have 27 stitches, then you're good to go. You can remove that stitch marker and then just slip stitch there. And that completes round 3. So for round 4, we're actually going to change color. So pull the yarn and then cut it. And now we're going to do the weave-in for these loose tails. So thread your darning needle and then weave in the ends on the back side of the circle. And so just weave them in pretty good, because if you're using these as placemats for food, they'll probably be washed a lot. So just make sure they're weaved in pretty good. And so just do that on the back for both of those leftover tails. And then I will meet you back once I'm done weaving in those ends. Now your circle should look something like this, and then you're going to grab the other color and make a slip knot. So wrap the yarn around your index finger twice, pull the back forward and do that again, and you have your slip knot. Now remove it from your finger and set it aside and grab your circle again, and then you're going to insert your hook anywhere in the circle, just in one of the stitches. And then grab your slip knot and pull it through one of those stitches on your circle. So again, just put it anywhere in the circle through a stitch and then pull up a loop with the new color. And then we're going to begin round 4 by chaining 1 to skewer. Now for round 4, after chaining 1, you're going to do a half double crochet in that same stitch. And then make sure you mark it with a stitch marker if you're a beginner. And then in the stitch after that, you're just going to do 1 half double crochet again, just 1, no increase yet. And then in the third one, you're going to increase. So 2 half double crochets in the same stitch, another half double crochet in that stitch. And then you're going to repeat that. So you're going to do 1 half double crochet, and then another half double crochet in the next one, and then an increase. So a half double crochet by itself, and then a half double crochet by itself, and then an increase. So 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. So you're going to repeat this pattern, 1, 1, and an increase. And then at the end of this round, you should have 36 total stitches. And your last stitch should be an increase. So now that we have 36 half double crochets total, remove the stitch marker from the first half double crochet and then make a slip stitch. Now for round 5, we're going to begin the petals. So start by chaining 2. Instead of chaining 1, we're chaining 2. And in that first stitch where we just chained, you're going to make a half double crochet in the same stitch. And then make sure you mark it with a stitch marker. And now we're beginning the petals. So in the next one, you're going to make a double crochet. So to make a double crochet yarn over once, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is your double crochet. Now in the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet increase. So we're making 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So make a double crochet and then make another double crochet in that same stitch. And then in the next one, you're going to make another increase, another double crochet increase. So do 2 double crochets in that same stitch. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet by itself. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And this is your first petal. We're doing 6 petals. And so we're just going to keep repeating that all around. So we're going to start the next petal with a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're doing a double crochet. And then in the next one, a double crochet increase. So 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. And then in the next one, a double crochet increase again. And then in the next one, a double crochet by itself. And then in the last stitch of the petal is a half double crochet. And so this completes the second petal. And so you're just going to keep doing that. So after the petal ends, you end it with a half double crochet. And then you start the next petal with a half double crochet, a double crochet, an increase, a double, and a half. And then you're just going to continue for 6 petals. A half, a double, an increase, a double, and half. And so just keep doing that until you have 6 petals total. And then this round should have 48 stitches total. So make sure you have 6 petals and 48 stitches total. Make sure you count them and make sure you have 48. This is very important because this sets up the petals for the future rounds. And so you have to have increased at the right time. So make sure you follow the pattern exactly. And then you can slip stitch in the first half double crochet. That first half double crochet that we did and we put a stitch marker on, you can go ahead and slip stitch. And then this completes round 5. Now we're going to begin round 6. You're going to begin round 6 by chaining 2. Again, those chains don't count as anything. They're just turning chains. And then in that same stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then again, if you're a beginner, make sure you mark it with a stitch marker. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. So now we're making the petals bigger. So we started the petal with a half double crochet, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And then in the next stitch, a double crochet, just one. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet increase. So just one double crochet increase in the next stitch. And then in the next one, you're going to do a double crochet increase again. So 2 double crochets. And then after that, 1 double crochet by itself. And then after that, half a double crochet by itself. And then to end the petal, you're going to do another half double crochet. So a half double crochet by itself in that last stitch of the petal. And so we ended the petal with a half double crochet, 2 half double crochets. And so we're going to begin the next petal by making a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet increase. So 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. And then in the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet increase, 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. And then the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet, just 1 double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to make a half double crochet. And then a half double crochet in the last stitch of the petal. And so you're going to do this 6 times. You're going to repeat each petal pattern 6 times all around. So just remember that each petal starts with a half double crochet, a half double crochet, and then a double crochet, and then you'll do a double crochet increase, 2 stitches in each double crochet. So we'll do that 2 times, and then a double crochet, and then a half double and a half double. And then you're just going to continue doing that for each petal. You're repeating that 6 times all around. At the end of the round, you should have 60 total stitches, and I will meet you back at the end of the round. Okay, so we just ended that. I believe we were at round 6. We ended the round with 60 stitches. And your last stitch was a half double crochet. Then remove the stitch marker from the first half double crochet and then make a slip stitch. And after we're done with this round, we'll have 2 more rounds to go. So just round 7 and 8 left. Now for round 7, we're going to begin by chaining 1, only chain 1. Because for this round, in that same stitch, you're going to start it with making a single crochet. So for a single crochet, just insert your hook once, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2. So just a single crochet, not a half double, just a single. And then make sure you mark it with a stitch marker if you're a beginner. And then in the next stitch, you're going to make a half double crochet, just 1 half double crochet. And then in the next one, you're going to make a double crochet, just 1 double crochet. And then in the next 4 stitches, we're making an increase in each one. So we're putting 2 double crochets in each of those 4 stitches. So begin by making an increase, so a double crochet increase in the next stitch. So put 2 double crochets in that next stitch. That's 1. And then do a second one there. And then in the second one, you're going to do another increase. So 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. And then do another one. And then in the third stitch, we're doing another double crochet increase. So 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. And then again, in the last stitch, you're also doing a double crochet increase. So all in all, you should have 8 double crochets total in 4 stitches because we're doing 4 double crochet increases in 4 stitches. And so here I am doing the last double crochet increase. And so this is the middle of the petal. And then now we're going to go back after that. In the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet by itself. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. And so that completes that first petal. And so we're going to do that again 6 times. We ended with a single crochet, and we're going to begin the second petal immediately with a single crochet again. So again, single crochet, and then a half double crochet, and then a double crochet by itself, and then a double crochet increase, so 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then in the next one another double crochet increase, and then in the next one another double crochet increase, and then in the next one another double crochet increase. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet, just 1 double crochet by itself. And then in the next stitch, a half double crochet by itself. And then in the last stitch of the petal, a single crochet. And so we're just going to repeat that. Just keep doing that until you have 6 petals total. And so this round ends with 84 stitches. And so single crochet, a half double, a double, an increase, an increase, an increase, and an increase, and then a double, and then a half, and then a single. And then just keep going, do 6 petals total, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round. Okay, now you can see the flower coming together. It looks cute as is, but we have one more round to go. Do not skip it. It will look cuter with the one more round, and it will fit a standard plate. So make sure you do that last round. And so slip stitch where we just did where we put the stitch marker at the beginning, it was a single crochet. So slip stitch in the first single crochet, and then we're not chaining. I know we're used to chaining, but we're not chaining. And I'll show you why at the end, but just leave it as is. Immediately start in the next stitch. So leave that stitch alone. In the next stitch, you're going to put a single crochet. And so just immediately start at the stitch next to the slip stitch. You're going to do a single crochet. And then you can mark that single crochet. And so I'll show you what I mean at the end of the round. Where we slip stitched, we're going to end the round there. So I will show you that at the end, but just ignore that one. That will be our last single crochet is going to go on top of that. And so just leave it. Just do a single crochet next to it. Put a stitch marker. And then we'll begin this round. This is the last round, round 8. And so in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet. And then the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet just by itself again. And then in the next 4 stitches is where we're going to increase. And so like we did in the previous round, we're putting 2 double crochets in 4 stitches, so 8 total double crochet. So in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet increase. So 1 double crochet, and then a second double crochet in the same stitch. And then do that 3 more times. So another double crochet increase. And then another double crochet increase. And then a 4th double crochet increase. And so we're at the middle of the petal, of the first petal. And then we're going to do a double crochet, a half, half, and a single. And so in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet by itself. And then the next stitch, a double crochet by itself. And then in the next stitch, a half double crochet by itself. And then the next stitch, a half double crochet by itself. And then the last stitch of the petal, you're going to do a single crochet. And this completes the first petal. And so we're going to do this again 6 times. And so we started with a single crochet. So we ended the petal with a single crochet, and then we begin with a single crochet. And then we do a half double crochet. That's 1. And then a half double crochet in the next one. And then again a double crochet by itself in the next one. And then a double crochet in the next one. And then we're going to begin our increases. So a double crochet increase, that's 1. And then another one in the same stitch. And so just do 4 double crochet increases. So that's the second stitch of the first increase. And then in the next one, a double crochet increase. And then the next one, a double crochet increase. And then in the 4th stitch, you're also going to do a double crochet increase. And then we're just going to continue a double crochet by itself in the next stitch. And then a double crochet by itself in the next stitch. And then a half double crochet by itself in the next stitch. And then the next stitch, a half double crochet by itself. And then we end the petal with a single crochet by itself. And so we're doing this 6 times, 6 petals. At the end of this round, the last round, you should have 108 stitches. And so I will meet you back at the end, and I'll show you what to do at the end. I'll meet you back around the last stitch. So here I am at the end of the round to show you what to do. And so I did my increases, and then I did a double crochet, and then a double crochet. So completed the increases, and then the one double after that. So I have a half double left, and a half double, and a single. So this is the half double crochet. And then in the next one, a half double crochet, ending the last petal. And then we're ending the petal with a single crochet. And so that last single crochet, we're going to put it where we slip stitched at the beginning of the round. So on the right side of the stitch marker, you're going to put your last single crochet. And then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first single crochet. And so where we put that stitch marker, remove it and do your last slip stitch. So slip stitch, and then you can pull the yarn and cut it. And then you are all done. You can just start weaving in the ends on the back side of the flower. And so I'm using this darning needle just because it's so much easier to thread than the other ones. So I'm just threading the darning needle and then move that yarn to the back and then just weave in the ends really good, because this is going to be washed a lot if you're using it for a dining table. So just weave it in really well and you should be done. Thank you so much for watching.